Darktide is an interesting game for the Warhammer universe. In some areas, it has amazing attention to detail, and in others, it is sorely lacking. However, today we aren't here to talk about the game itself. Today, I wanted to focus more on a particular character, one who is shrouded in mystery and intrigue. Inquisitor Grendyl. This is a character that we know shockingly little about. There are even moments from the beta where one character from the group may ask about Grendyl only to receive a vague or blunt answer from other members. Since the official release, for whatever reason, I have also noticed that even this dialogue is not as common as it used to be, which is interesting. In time, I would hope that we will begin to get more information about him as Darktide slowly continues to receive updates and content. But today I wanted to share what we know so far and take a stab at his potential background. As you would expect, this will eventually turn to theories and guesswork based on the limited information that we have. If enough of you are interested, I would be more than happy to cover what I think Grendyl is trying to achieve in another video, because I do have different thoughts on that, and I was going to make it all in one video, but I would prefer not to subject you all to ramblings and theories unless you actually want to see a bit more of that. Either way, let's try and stay on track by first tackling the information that we do have. We know next to nothing about Inquisitor Grendyl. From the video recording that the rejects receive during the I am a warrior cutscene, a servitor displays a series of faces while the Inquisitor gives his speech. The easy interpretation is that we simply don't know what Grendyl looks like, but additionally, we don't know what he sounds like due to the changing voices. Essentially, he could be anyone. It could be you. It could be me. But let's not go down that road. For those of you that are well versed in Warhammer, I'm sure the Alpha Legion would definitely love to take advantage of that. Some people initially suspected that the lady in the opening cutscene is Inquisitor Grendyl, but if you turn the subtitles on, she is labeled as Brahms, who is the captain of the Morning Star, or otherwise known as the ship mistress. If you did want any extra proof, it's here in this extra random dialogue, where the characters talk about what she does for the warband.
As I understand, ship mistress Brahms ensures Grendyl's agents are there he needs them, and then...
I think he might explode soon, like a bomb. That will be colourful, won't it?
So while it is clear that she is not the Inquisitor, she does play an active role in helping Grendyl, as she describes this herself.
Our war is not one of battlefields and fleet engagements. It is waged by the dedicated agents of the Imperial Inquisition. It is fought in the cities and hives of the Imperium. In the back streets and the forgotten sublevels.
If you are a little bit more curious, when walking around the Morning Star, You'll also notice that there are some banners that appear to have the same symbol as rogue traders, and others that have the Inquisition's symbol. So it's also fair to assume, and I think it's heavily hinted, that Shipmaster Brahms is a rogue trader that has been acquired by Inquisitor Grendyl. This tells us that Grendyl isn't afraid to shine his Inquisitor badge when he needs something done, and it isn't the first time that we've seen Inquisitors employ rogue traders. I think it's pretty interesting that she talks about fighting a different kind of war. She almost appears to agree with Grendyl's cause. This caught my eye because typically when an Inquisitor tells you to do something, it's a simple choice: listen to the Inquisitor or receive a quick death. However, she seems genuinely invested in fighting alongside Grendyl, so the people who know Grendyl well do in fact trust him, but to the rejects he is extremely secretive. After re-watching his introduction a few times, I found his speech to be quite strange. His speech is delivered in the style of someone trying to motivate and encourage, with other soldiers echoing, "I am a warrior." But his words seem hollow. Grendyl is just describing facts about the situation, with Atoma Prime being vital and his role as an Inquisitor. We don't actually learn much aside from a couple of key words that he uses to describe things. Either way, after meeting him, we are left with more questions than answers. There are many things about him that we just don't know, like what kind of Inquisitor is he? Is he a radical or a Puritan? What ordo of the Inquisition does he belong to? And why is he dealing with the situation of Tertium in such a disorganized way? Without rambling too much, I thought it would be good to try and answer what we can based on his actions, or in this case, lack of action. To start with, there are many different orders or specialties within the Inquisition, but their philosophy can be mostly summed up into two distinct factions. It's probably better to call these different ideologies that Inquisitors can have, to be either a Puritan or a radical. Puritans are Inquisitors that are more by the book. They will have a set way of dealing with threats to the Imperium, and for lack of a better description, they are generally more glued to Imperial law, tradition, and beliefs. They see the Imperium as something that needs to continue the way that it has for many, many years, and they want to keep the cogs of bureaucracy turning because, in their eyes, praise the Emperor, the system works. On the other end of the spectrum, radicals are Inquisitors that apply the idea of the ends justify the means. They will essentially do almost anything if they believe that it will help the Imperium of Man. Their ideas are more than just abstract, but this is because they truly believe that the systems of the Imperium are not good enough and not varied enough to adequately deal with outside threats. The truth is that Inquisitors can change their views with time. Typically, an Inquisitor may start their career as a by-the-book agent. However, after time and exposure to the realities of the universe, they may feel it necessary to bend the rules in order to best deal with various dangers. In the case of Grendyl, it's pretty clear to me that he is a radical. Most, if not all, Puritan Inquisitors would typically use a scorched earth policy with anything chaos related. The Inquisition's very roots are based on the idea that traitors and heretics cannot spread their influence, otherwise the entire Imperium could come crashing down. There are even some Inquisitors that would see enough push for an exterminatus of Atoma Prime, essentially nuking the planet, as even a single heretic could still spread to another planet and begin a domino effect. Due to his lack of response to the heretics in Hive City Tertium, my immediate thought is why? Could Grendyl's lack of response be due to a fear of a different threat? What ordo of the Inquisition does he actually belong to, and what is he trying to stop? Because he clearly doesn't appear to be very bothered by the Mobian Sixth. Perhaps his motivations will begin to make a bit more sense if we can figure out what ordo he belongs to. As I mentioned before, there are many different specialties that an Inquisitor can focus on. These specialties are called ordos. They can range from very large in size with significant resources dedicated to stopping the threat, such as the Ordo Malleus, the Demon Hunters, or Ordo Hereticus, the Witch Hunters. Essentially, this specialty is what an Inquisitor believes is a significant threat to humanity. This is where things get interesting, because different Inquisitors will have different ideas of what is acceptable and what is heretical. Just as an example, a member of the Ordo Malleus, the Demon Hunters, might feel that an alien race is not a big issue, so on their journey, an Inquisitor may actually ignore a world that is being attacked by orcs, because to them, it is viewed as a regular threat and not mission critical to the end of humanity. However, it also works the other way around. A different Inquisitor could happily use a demonic weapon if it is able to give them the power to save a world from a relentless Tyrannid invasion. There are three major orders: the Malleus, the Demon Hunters; Xenos, the Alien Hunters; and Hereticus, the Witch Hunters. So to try and narrow down which ordo he belongs to, let's just go with a simple process of elimination. He isn't fighting against any Xeno races, so we can exclude that almost immediately. And while the Mobian Sixth are present and he is fighting them and they are traitors, he is not using the full power that he can wield as an Inquisitor, so I doubt he is focused on that. Part of me does believe that he is inclined towards the Demon Hunters of the Ordo Malleus, but this is where his actions appear contradictory. If Grendyl needs to hunt down a heretic leader or repair a communication station, then yes, it makes sense to use a team of expendable manpower, because if they fail, he won't really lose anything important. But if you have a demonic threat that you and your agents are specialized in dealing with, are you actually going to send in rejects and prisoners that you don't even fully trust to try and stop it? This makes no sense, and if anything, it seems like a terrible way to deal with a demonic threat. to me, it just didn't add up. So because the Ordo Malleus seemed like a bit of a dead end, my next step was to check through any other minor orders in the Inquisition to see if there was a more niche specialty that matched with Grendyl's actions. What I found was quite interesting. One of the newest orders is called the Order Sepulchrum, and it has a very juicy goal. These Inquisitors focus on the relatively new threat presented by the heavy emergence of plague zombies, or as we know them, poxwalkers. With this revelation, my eyebrows were raised and my interest was piqued. The dots started coming together in my mind, and it explains Grendyl's interest in the planet, not because of traitors or chaos in general, but because of the myriad of diseases that are spread by the followers of Nurgle. Grendyl understands the threat of demons and chaos, but his focus is on infections and potentially what researching these can lead to. We have multiple missions where we are required to collect samples of new infections, because if you want to research these, you don't always know how it could spread or how deadly an infection is. So it makes complete sense to use disposable prisoners to get the samples and then research these from the safety of the Morningstar. The Ordo Sepulchrum is, in my eyes, a very good match for Inquisitor Grendyl, but the final and million-dollar question that remains is, what does he aim to do with this research? What is he trying to achieve? That is something that I would like to expand on in my next video. I don't mean to leave you all on a cliffhanger if you are actually interested in this as much as I am, but as I stated in the beginning, I didn't want to subject you all to ramblings or waste anyone's time if there wasn't enough interest in the subject. So please tell me if you do want to know more about this theory by liking and subscribing. I hope that you all enjoyed the video, and I will see you all on the next one. I've been Kiv, and I'm out.